The marathon. 26.2 grueling miles in which the world's top 1% fight to cover immense distance in as little time as possible. But even within this 1% club, there is a top tier, the elites, the fastest athletes in the world. And what do they wear? Super shoes, the most advanced shoes on earth, with carbon plates, super foams, and insanely light uppers, all with the purpose of making the wearer just a few seconds faster. These shoes are designed for elites to take a few seconds off their time to make the difference between winning and losing. But do the super shoes work for the average runner? Let's find out. That's right, today I'm going to be running a mile in 4 different super shoes to see which one makes the most difference when running at a pace that's a little bit more human. But first, we need a baseline for each super shoe to be compared to, and for this role, we have the New Balance Rebel V5. These shoes are just regular trainers, so whatever I run in these will be the baseline for the super shoes to come. For all of these reps, I'm staying in control and making sure the effort is the same so that the test can be as valid as possible. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm going nice and easy and keeping it really chill as I come through the first mile in a time of 7:11. So that's the baseline time that all the super shoes are going to be put up against later on. Okay, let's quickly talk about why I am doing this challenge. So my mom is running the Boston Marathon this year, and her goal, or her estimated time, I guess, is going to be around 4 hours. So she's running 4-hour pace. I wanted to kind of see if, because she's been training in her Alpha Flies for her workouts and stuff, I wanted to see if the Alpha Flies actually would help her at that pace, or if there are better shoes, like say the Mizuno Neo Zen or a Rebel V5, which are going to look after your legs a little bit better, a little bit softer, more supportive, because these super shoes, they're designed for elites, right? So I wanted to see if the shoes that aren't necessarily designed for people who are running 3 minutes flat for a whole marathon, for a K, if these super shoes are actually necessary, or if a Mizuno Neo Zen or a Rebel V5 is going to be just as good. So yeah, that's the reason. I'll leave a link below if you want to donate to my mom. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Moving on to the second mile, I'm wearing the Nike Vaporfly 3s. These are definitely not the fastest super shoe out there, but they still feel really weird to be running on the track at such a slow pace. Anyways, we come through this mile in a very comfortable 7:05, which means that the Vaporflies made us around 6 seconds faster than the Rebels over the full mile. Our next contender is the On Cloudboom Strike. These shoes are kind of broken with the plate being snapped in both shoes. However, compared to when they were not broken, they don't feel different. In this rep, I'm keeping it really chill, and the shoes almost allowed me to settle in too much as I came through in this rep in a time of 7:13, so 2 seconds slower than the baseline. However, it was certainly an easier 7:13 than the 7:11 with the Rebels. For the fourth shoe of the day, I'm wearing the ASICS Metaspeed Edge Tokyos. These shoes are a lot more enjoyable at this pace than the others, partly because they're a lot more subtle, but also because it feels like you have a lot more substance underfoot. Compared to the likes of the Fast R3, which is so slimmed down that it feels kind of awkward, these shoes feel amazing. Anyways, we come through this mile in 6:53, so a huge jump up from the Rebels with an 18-second difference over only 1 mile. The final shoe of the day are the Puma Fast R3s. These shoes are fast, and there's no denying it, but they're almost too fast, and they push you up on your toes and get you to push the pace the whole time, which when you're running for 4-ish hours might not be what you want. They are also quite unstable at this pace, but either way, they bring me home in the easiest 6:33 I've ever run for a 38-second improvement over the baseline test. Now before we end the video, let's quickly talk about my recommendations and the shoes that I would wear if I was to jump into a marathon right now. Now obviously, I haven't actually run a marathon and I haven't worn all the shoes on the market. However, if I was to jump into a marathon, based off of the things that I've heard from people who have run marathons and based off of the shoes that I have worn, I would wear the ASICS Metaspeed Edge Tokyos if I was to run a marathon right now. Now, I know that we saw in our test that the Fast R3 was the fastest shoe out of the ones I had. However, that was at the start. That was the first mile, right? If we're looking at the last few miles, I believe the Fast R3 would not be as quick as the Asics Metaspeed Edge Tokyo, just because this shoe's more traditional. I mentioned it before, it feels a lot more natural and it's a lot more enjoyable at the pace than the Fast R3. And for that reason, I would wear this shoe if I was to jump into a marathon right now. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below which shoe you would wear if you were to run a marathon right now. I'm Max MacArthur, and I'll see you in the next one.